Detecting toggle of the day, Tuesday, April the 30th, 6:43. You know, I was on the phone with my buddy last night down the road here, talking. He's been watching some of my videos, you know. You know, these more modern detectors have this recovery speed, reactivity. That's what XP calls it. That's what I'm holding here at Deus too. Now, you know, there's some beginners out there getting into detecting. And this recovery speed or reactivity change on this detector here, now that's a 9-inch coil. Well, what's going on with that coil when you change that? Now, you remember when that Equinox come out? They was over Detectival, I guess, and they had all that killing nail and all that stuff laying on the ground real close, and they were sweeping that detector, you know, showing how fast it was. Now, you know, that Deus 1 was a fast machine too. It just wasn't multi-frequency. Okay. And somebody watching that video might get it in their head, you know, oh, fast, that's it, fast. Game, set, match. Run this machine faster versus slower. Game, set, match. Well, if you believe that, you are thinking wrong. Now, if every desirable target in the world was laying its surface to, I don't know, I'll say 1 inch deep, 1.5 inches deep, that might be the case. We would never run this detector here at a 1 reactivity if that was the case. Chances are it would do us little good if every piece of iron, if every desirable non-ferrous target was shallow. Okay? This would even apply to Assault Beach. Every target was surface, more or less. But that's not the case, is it? So, there are times when you can run the machine faster and get benefit, and there are times you can run the machine slower and get benefits. And targets can be missed depending on the setup, how they exist in the wild, depending on how fast you're running this detector. Alright, and I'm going to give you a little demonstration here to show you what's going on with this coil. You see that foil there? Now I'm in the 40 max frequency and sensitive FT. I'm going to leave it there. For now anyway. Reactivity. I'm going to go to 5. That's the fastest on this piece of equipment. Now I'm going to keep that coil. You see where the foil is? The tip of that coil. You hear that signal? That's sort of weak, ain't it? Now, if I put it in the middle of the coil, it'll be stronger, but we're going to just keep it right in there. Okay? Now, I'm going to change this speed set. I'm not messing with the tones. I'm not messing with the sensitivity. All I'm doing is changing the reactivity or the speed. I'm going to slow it down. There's 4. 3. 2.5. 2. 1.5. 1. That was 1. Now I'm going to lift the coil and go back to 5. You see the difference? So the edge of that coil picks that fall up with a more wholesome, stronger tone at a slower speed. Okay? So when you're sweeping this detector around, okay, I'll give you example here. I'm not going to do the test, I'm just going to show you. So you're sweeping that 3D scenario there. Okay? As this coil is approaching, remember what we've seen about the edge of the coil? In a faster speed, that coil is not going to hear that jam so much. Remember now, the coil is moving. Coil is moving, but that foil there, as that foil gets closer, the coil gets closer to that foil, it becomes the dominant force. Okay? Therefore, you may not hear the jam at all, because by the time the coil in a faster speed, the center of the coil has been, see where I'm at now? I'm at the center of the coil. Look where the foil is. If I slow the machine down, I'm coming from so, as that coil gets right in there, it senses the dime. The foil has not become so dominant yet. Now it eventually will, and you'll get what you call a clip tone. Okay? You'll get what you call a clip tone. Now, does this apply to iron? Sure does. Applies to iron as well. You'll see where I did those videos showing the DS2. You had to go to a lower speed because some maneuverability situations in the wild with maskers, the only part of that call that you might can get over a non-ferrous target and get signal might be the edge of the coil, so to speak. Well, in a situation where the iron is elevated, okay, you may catch yourself where you're in that situation. So a faster speed, like a speed 3, might not give a very strong signal or give any signal at all, because the periphery of that coil won't pick it up, or it gives a weak signal. A slower speed like 2 could give a much bigger signal or a more robust signal, or give a signal at all. So you can take this machine right here. Now this applies to the Equinox, this applies to the Manticore as well. You can take this machine to an iron sight and run it in speed 3, speed 2.5, and be successful. And be none the wiser, right? If you didn't do the test like I'm doing, or you've discovered this in the wild, but could you do it on one target location? Could you actually connect the dots? How many would it take before you could connect the dots? Say, oh, wait a minute. I can run this machine slower and find some targets. Now remember, you can run the machine slower to drive your depth. That's not what we're talking about. Could there be some 5, 4, 6-inch deep non-ferrous target scenarios where a faster speed comes up short? Most certainly. Now remember, there's still situations in the wild where a faster speed could give you some advantage. But if you watch some of these YouTubers, you know, you hear, oh, I'm out here and I'm running this broom handler, broomstick program, whatever they're calling it. Oh, I'm running it in 2.5. I'm running this in 3. Oh, this sight's got iron in it. Well, I don't think you can take this detector and go to a high iron sight and run it in speed 2.5 and 3 and necessarily get all of the goods. There could be situations in there where a slower speed, 1.5, 2.5 in mile ground, you could get some additional targets. Okay. This is why I've been showing these tests. You know, there's beginners out there. There's some people that I don't know what they know. Some of these YouTubes can be very misleading. Okay, faster's not always better. Slower is not always better. You have to sort of do both. Now remember, you know, when you go in there, you know, you're not going to necessarily, when you switch and run this machine, say at a speed 2 and a high iron sight versus a speed 2.5 or a 3, you know, you're not going to go in there and find a wheelbarrow full. Okay. But you might not have found a wheelbarrow full in there running the machine fast either, to start with. So when this coil, when you're changing the speed of it, are you changing the size of the coil? I guess you could say you are to a degree. You know, you're making this coil behave like it's smaller. And you slow the machine down, you know, and it changes. Now, the frequency that you're using on this detector around modern trash, you've got your speed that I've talked about, okay? Well, frequency is another driver. Frequency used, like over lower foil, okay? So you can run a higher frequency, like a 40 max, with some slower speed and expose some targets. But some of those targets won't be exposed unless you lower the frequency. Even using the same speed. You might even be able to use a faster speed and a lower frequency and do better than a slower speed and a higher frequency. It's a balancing act. You might even set this detector up. I could set a situation up where I could actually get equal ops on a higher conductor matched by lower, running a higher frequency at a slower speed, and a lower frequency and a faster speed. I could set that up. Okay, using a 14 versus a 40, or a 14 versus a 24, or a 24 versus a 40. Okay, on this particular machine, you know, the frequency max on this thing is adjustable now in all these programs, unlike the original version. Well, I just thought I would share this, you know, because my buddy had a few questions last night. So I decided to do this video. So people are, you know, the beginners and all that, you know, you sort of get an idea like, oh. So watching these people, you know, sweeping detector with coins and stuff lined up like this, and you hear all the music being played. Well, there's more to that detector to help you by running it slower versus faster in a lot of situations. That's going to conclude the detecting talk of the day.